So, hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Maliss deck that's being played in general, I guess. So, this deck in particular, I just straight up yoinked this from console. Like, yeah, this is just his deck, I guess. Maybe there's been some changes made since, but yeah, alright. Let's see what we got here. So, we are running 1 copy of Chessy Cat, 3 copies of Dormouse, 3 of White Rabbit, 3 of March Hare, 3 Fulos, 2 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, 2 Called By, 1 Crossout, and 0 copies of Lancea. And we're running a very sizable Bestial package actually here. We are running MTP 07, 06, and the one we are not running is 11. Okay. So the thing about this list is it's not like spectacular in the mirror. Since we are running 3 Druid Swarm though, Druid Swarm should just be somewhat useful in general. If you do not remove this Druid Swarm, you'll have to deal with it later, but if you remove it via destruction, it'll forcibly trade for something else, which is kind of actually clever. I don't really know about like Baldrake necessarily though. Baldrake feels like a bit meh to me. I don't know. Feeling iffy on this one. And also we're not running Droll, although the deck can definitely run Droll to deal with Maxi and Mulcharmy Foolis, but maybe it's because you're not playing 11 here. Maybe 11 allows you to play under Droll a little bit better. In this case, to do a combo line, I think you have to resolve 07, right? Do you? Does GWC 06 work? Is that good enough? I don't know, maybe. I haven't fully analyzed the combo lines yet, so that'll take some time because this is actually kind of a pain to analyze. But that aside, in the extra deck, we have Link Spider, Solomon Great Almirage. Why are we running Link Spider? If we get nibbed, and then this is a Cyberse. If you get nibbed, you could link off for Link Spider, and then if you have 1 additional extender, I feel like, yeah, you could go into Splash Mage, or perhaps Lizardos here, and then maybe there's potential to extend. I think that's probably the purpose behind this. Almirage, I am not sure why we have Almirage here, when you already have Link Grebo and Link Decoder? No, wait, it's for if you want to normal summon a hand trap, I guess, and then link it off to get an additional Cyberse. I don't know when that would come up though. That's a bit confusing for me, dog, but alright. We aren't playing Terahertz either. Very noteworthy. So this particular version of the deck is very weak into board breakers. Like if I dropped a Raigeki Lightning Storm evenly, that would cook you alive. But the thing about that is that I know that you know that I would be able to play Terahertz, meaning you might not be running board breakers or not a heavy amount of them, because you know that Maliss would play that, but I won't play them because other Maliss players playing them makes it so that I don't need to play them. You know what I mean? It's like how people started cutting Nibiru when Tearlament and Sprite were being released. Like, I could be playing, for example, Blackwing or DD, which don't have really good anti-Nibiru lines. Like, there are lines you can do where you have, like, some plays or follow-up against, like, a Nibiru, but they're, in general, not very good, right? So, I guess, knowing that, it's probably okay. IP. What are we running IP here for? IP into SP, I guess? If we have IP, we can pair that with like a Druiswurm potentially. That's not like actually terrible, I guess. This list is kind of weird, so maybe I should find a more normal list. and take a look at that instead, I guess. So, there's some lists that run Dotscaper, for example, for an extra body, but Dotscaper is kind of terrible if you open it, so I don't think that's very good. But alright. One of the very obvious things, I think there are several obvious things that are really bad about Maliss just in general. So this list in particular, though, because it runs IP and Link Spider, which is actually very uncommon, this doesn't actually lose to Black Garden because you're able to link off the tokens if I force a bunch of tokens on you, so you won't get Ojama'd, interestingly enough. And I think the Dark Charmer might be able to link off as well. But it's not like that good, right? Dark tokens. Yeah, I gotta be a bit careful about that, I guess. This can use non-effect monsters. So Black Garden is probably going to be decent against other builds as well. They're only able to make Dahark. If we can do some special summoning on our opponent's turn as well, we should be able to still fill up all of their zones again. I don't think you'd be able to link off enough bodies to do anything significant. Probably, right? Actually, no wait. Firewall Dragon is completely generic. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's annoying, actually. Then that rules out Black Garden. If Firewall is being played in the deck, it just gives them a free Firewall, I guess. Not great. So you can literally make the Hark and then Firewall as well if you get Black Garden. Yeah, alright. That's not great. And then if I were to be playing against this, anything noteworthy. So Droll is only good to stop maybe Allure, but not even that good. When do you actually do your first search? The only two cards that actually search would be MTP07, and then you have the Red Ransom. So you have two searches here. So Ash Blossom Joy Spring is still pretty reasonable to play into this, I guess. It's not like guaranteed to stop this, but it does have an effect, I guess. Same kind of issue with, I guess, Unchained somewhat. If we have a 1 card, does this actually stop anything? Let's check. Normal summon Dormouse. Effect to, I guess, summon White Rabbit. White Rabbit grabs MTP 07. Let's say we Ash 07. Special summons back White Rabbit. Dormouse was normal summon. Link off for Hacker Dose. Banishing Dormouse, special summon back Dormouse. And then we can link off Dormouse for Decoder. Make Red Ransom. Add the field spell. This is a 1-card combo and Ash doesn't actually stop this. The only thing that could stop this is something like an Imperm. Huh. And there's going to be essentially 3 cards that will out your Imperm here that they can just open at 30% odds, right? So that'd be Cross Out, this trap, and this trap. Yeah. And then we could also do like Link Decoder, Link off, Dormouse. If we open Hair banish Dormouse, special summon back both, go into Ransom, and then go into White Rabbit. Not really sure what the end board ends on in this case though. But this should go somewhere, I think. So what now? So Ash Blossom, honestly, is it better to hold Ash Blossom for your own turn or just to throw it out? Like, at what point can you actually Ash this for it to be impactful? I don't think there's going to be a point, is there? The only reason they're playing Ash anyways is probably just for Maxi and Volcharmy Fuelos. Interesting. Dominus Impulse is just honestly grade A BS, you know? this effect is very powerful even if it doesn't negate destroy. Just being unable to special summon one time, like this could be horrendous depending on exactly what it's stopping. Like for example, we have the Vanquish Soul card to special summon a guy. Then we have the other Vanquish Soul effect that special summons a guy, like from hand, or the other one that special summons from hand, like the Link one. That's not great actually. For branded, there are a bunch of things you wouldn't want to get hit by with impulse. So is there something we could do that's kind of clever that can deal with the impulse here? Impulse is actually very powerful. Kind of annoying. Purge is actually easier to play around than impulse. And a while ago, there weren't that many decks that could actually utilize impulse and well and being a powerful deck and all that. Like Blue Eyes played Purge, not a big deal. And the only deck that played Impulse, I think that there might have been two decks. I don't remember the other one, but I think one of them was Tenpai. Aside from Tenpai, there was not much else that could play Impulse, so I guess another reason not to play Wind Monsters here is because of Impulse, right? So Droll probably doesn't have that good of synergy with Impulse. I guess that's the reasoning behind that. Makes sense. And then Gold Sark isn't even hard once per turn, so if it were at 3, you would just play it. Like 3 copies of Gold Sark. Kinda makes me question why they put Gold Sark to 2 before they released Maliss. Because this is like essentially a bonfire for this deck. And also it's like very hard to deal with. Just Gold Sark in general. What cards actually can, like in terms of hand traps, what hand trap can actually respond to Gold Sark? Basically nothing, right? That nothing stops Gold Sark. That's kind of a little bit busted, but alright, whatever. If we're going second into this, it's actually very rough regardless, I guess. You have a lot of cards in your graveyard, but we can't like banish them. That's not really an option. Can we put back any of these cards? Not really. Can we banish something from the deck here? How important exactly is White Binder or Red Ransom? I think White Binder might be more important to get rid of if we got rid of this. It prevents a lot of recursion with the target up to 3 cards in your any graveyard banish them effect. So I think maybe if we were to be playing Ghost Cherries, banish White Binder might be a decent option. And I only have to really put in 2 cards in the extra deck to deal with fiendsmith and Maliss. Then I can just put 1 copy of White Binder and 1 copy of Requiem. And that should be able to kill those engines entirely. If I open like Ghost Cherries, yeah, that should be fine. I don't know exactly how many decks we would have to prepare for with the Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries and how many extra deck slots I have to give up, but Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries seems pretty solid here, honestly, to an extent. If we were playing the Mirror, though, Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries seems even more insane. Well, alright. Vistrals are not useless, they're just not very effective. They're about as effective as, I guess, Ash Blossom Geostring. There isn't really too much you can do with Vistrals. There are only 2 targets, I think, that are worth banishing with Vistrals. The first one, I guess, is Link Decoder. Whatever you're attempting to bring back with maybe a Splash Mage might be okay. And then there is the target that you're attempting to hit with Maliss and the Mirror. Yeah. Alright. So that means, though, if we do normal summon Dormouse and I have like Ash Blossom Joy Spring and then let's say Bestial, that might not be enough to stop like just a single normal summon Dormouse. So That's something, I guess. If we did have an impulse though, that would stop the turn. So that'd be like Dormouse, banish White Rabbit, negate White Rabbit. And the interesting thing about this is White Rabbit probably can't be special summoned anymore in any significant way. So that'd be like if you were to like try to banish it again, that's not possible because it's already banished. So you would have to banish a new one at some later point in time. If you were to try to add it to your hand, you can't normal summon because you normal summon Dormouse. If we do GWC, this is the only actual option, right? GWC 06 here, yeah. So that would be this effect to special summon, and you would have to set this with White Binder. So that's not even that impactful unless it completely kills the turn. It's situational. So going first, this deck is just very, very hand trap resistant, it seems. But they'll just take more analysis, I guess, to figure out what hand traps would be very effective. I mean, maybe Ghost Cherries could be enough to do it. I'll have to check exactly what options we have, but alright. Going first, it's kind of, every deck wants to go first. Like Stun, for example, wants to go first. Like, being hand trap resistant is not the same as being hand trap immune, which Stun literally is. There's only one hand trap that has any sort of effect against stun, and that would be Imperm against like Fossil Dino. But no hand trap works against Skill Drain. Well, we'll put it that way, I suppose. Wow. Well, actually, there is one way it could work out. Specifically, if you did like Dominus Impulse, I think, on macro to destroy it. I guess that's about it, right? In terms of hand traps, there's also, I guess, like Cyframes, but that's not really going to happen, I don't think. Alright. Whoa, what else? So if we are going second, though, how many different strategies can we use to brutalize this deck? I mean, well, first off, removal. Like, it doesn't matter the form of removal, just any form of removal is decent against Maliss. It's just like, these cards really don't do a whole lot. Just period, right? So, okay, let's assume you do normal summon Dormouse, and let's say you resolve Dormouse effect. What is this realistically going to do? Like, regardless of what trap you grab, none of these traps actually do anything. So if you add a Maliss monster from your deck to your hand, you can add, I guess, March Hare, and March Hare would allow you to special summon itself, and maybe potentially special summon back the Dormouse. But this still does nothing. Most of your cards that actually do anything are all in the extra deck, so yeah, we could deal with this with a bunch of different approaches, I guess, right? So normal summon the Dormouse. Dormouse is Ignition. Pop Dormouse. Now what? If you don't have March Hare, you're cooked. And even if you have March Hare, what if I hit you with Negate, Destroy, March Hare, and now you're down both of these cards, and now there are 0 plays that the deck can make aside from Maliss in the Underground and Gold Sarcophagus here, pretty much. Those are about all I would expect being left. And also, this still doesn't play against removal. So if we have like a board wipe kind of effect almost, we'll go with specifically, I guess, something that can remove multiple cards at the same time. So first off, because of how these cards work, you can even trigger some stuff ahead of time. So let's say we're playing, let's go with Ninja. Okay, so I am going first with Ninja. So normal summon Dormouse. Dormouse effect activates. I'll chain to Dormouse effect. The ninjutsu art of Dancing Leaves, I guess. And then ninjutsu art of Dancing Leaves will allow me to special summon Yugioh in the next chain, I think. Wait, let me calc this. New chain effect. No, that's not when you would activate Dancing Leaves. You would have to activate it when White Rabbit is being is special summoning itself. But okay, let's say we do that, and then the chain where we special summon Geo, it will be White Rabbit effect attempting to set, and then Dormouse is just on the field, and then we'll flip face down both of these two, and then you'll set a trap that can't be activated. And also, if you have March Hare in hand, the only way you can special summon this is if you have another Maliss card in your hand here to banish. Because it only banishes from hand or graveyard, it does not really banish from field, and these cannot be identified as Maliss cards, so that makes your traps dead. And also, because of the timing of when I used Dancing Leaves and when Geo was summoned, none of your traps can actually activate here, allowing me to, you know, just essentially cook you alive. And if we are playing with Apollosa here, if I am making an Apollosa, like let's say maybe I'm playing like the pre-fiendsmith Yubel endboard, and I just have like a big Apo. Normal summon Dormouse, okay. Dormouse effect, negate the special summon of White Rabbit. Then you only have Chessy Cat left to special summon, so if you activate Gold Sark, I will now negate Chessy Cat. Now all you're left with is the ability to maybe special summon March Hare. But for the most part, all you've accomplished is normal summon Dormouse, and it doesn't matter how you banish these guys. It can be with Maliss in the Underground, it can be Gold Sark, Allure. They're not going to be coming out for the most part here. If you have a trap, it shouldn't really matter. We can negate that special summon as well. And if you were to special summon the Dormouse, since this is an ignition effect, we don't have to let this resolve at all. So we could easily turn this with the Unchained Link 2 into an SP, which you might think is bad, but then you realize, wait, their effect to special summon when banished actually is not that useful in this case, because they banish special summon and then you'll banish them after, meaning they'll just stay banished at that point. So they're not actually resistant to being banished either. They're just not severely affected by being banished. It doesn't like affect the recursion and stuff either, but it still acts as regular kind of removal. So that's why like a deck like Kashtira or Bistrels would still, well, I guess Bistrels don't really banish in a useful way against this deck. Not too useful, I guess. So rather than Bistrels, I guess I'll go with a different banish deck. Let's see what banishes like a lot. I guess let's say Primite. Primite would still be fine, right? There is no demerit to negating and banishing their cards in particular, because they would, it like, even if you were to banish their normal summon Dormouse, that's not actually bad, because later in the combo they would have wanted to banish Dormouse anyways to special summon it back. So it's not particularly good going second. Like, there aren't any good tools anywhere here. It's just a matter of not understanding the deck, honestly, I think, and timing your card effects poorly, rather than the deck being like super good or anything like that. That's my thoughts on the matter at the moment. We'll have to see later though, I guess. So the primary issue here is mostly just going second against the deck, because going first, I don't actually have to do anything spectacular about this. But you know, with the increasing play rate, or the currently very high play rate of Maliss, it'd be nice to just look for a deck that just doesn't require any of my cards to banish themselves or anything like that. And one easy way to do that is just to play Fiendsmith, because none of these cards actually banish, aside from Tract, Effect, and Graveyard, which doesn't really matter, I don't think. So there's that. What else do we have here? Well, if you do run Lancea, Lancea feels like pretty terrible into a lot of decks. Chaos Hunter as well. Chaos Hunter being a little bit costly to use, requiring you to discard a card. I don't think it's like very worthwhile to play. Well, for starters, I guess a Kaiju is pretty good. We're going second against this deck. Kaijus are terrible going first though because they're not hand traps, they're specifically board breakers. The only reason to maybe go for Vistrals is maybe we could be playing a small world kind of deck. Radiant is a good bridge, for example, and also Jizukiru's good. Thunder King can be good as well. Depending on the exact deck, even Dogron could be good. So if we're playing against this, going second, Kaiju is pretty solid, I suppose. There also is the idea, well, we could play Dinosaur, actually. So think of this order. This would be pretty free, right? Normal Summon Soul Eating Oviraptor, Chainlink 1 Oviraptor, Chainlink 2 Apollosa, Chainlink 3 Misk. Misk always resolves here. If you do not negate the Oviraptor, then, well, Oviraptor just resolves and I can grab whatever I want, right? And also worth mentioning is Misk is actually not hard once per turn, right? You can only use this effect of Misk once per turn. This effect you can use as many times as you want. So there's that. And then all of your monsters becoming unaffected genuinely, unless they have like a Called by the Grave, there's no real way to stop Misk at this point. So yeah, counterplay does exist, and here's one idea. If I'm playing Dino, I could also, assuming I'm going first, if I resolve True King Lithosagam, I am going to banish Maliss, Q Red Ransom, White Binder, and Heart Scripter. And then, okay, now what are you playing? You're just playing generics with no Malice extra deck. Good luck with that, right? I guess if we were to special Unicorn and just utilize Unicorn in whatever deck we're playing, that would work pretty well, I think. Getting rid of White Binder, I think, is pretty huge. Even if you were to resolve like a Lancea on the turn I special summon the Unicorn so I can't banish from your extra deck, I'll still be able to banish White Binder the next turn. And the Unicorn is still going to be an additional body or two if I really need to or want to use it as two separate bodies. I do have that option as well. Pretty huge. And also in terms of this hand trap lineup, the only hand trap that is very difficult to play around here is going to be the Dominus Impulse. Everything else is actually pretty doable. Like Maxi, you can just Ash Blossom or Called by this or whatever, because the odds of Maxi resolving very little versus like the odds of you opening Ash Blossom or Called by, right? Fulos is very possible to play around. And in fact, if we wanted to play around both, Centurion plays around all of the hand traps present here. And you don't actually need to banish any cards here. It's just a matter of if you're going first, like, end board is strong enough. The only card that actually does anything in terms of hand traps in this particular list against Centurion would be Dominus Impulse, which is actually really annoying to an extent. But if I have just one more extender, if I have like 2 engine, I should be able to play around Impulse 100% of the time. And I don't think it's a problem. Yeah, alright. Seems good to me, I guess. So now it's mainly about what I want to use to cook the deck here. So Nibiru actually is fine. So if we look at it from several different perspectives, you don't actually have good anti-Nibiru lines if you're actually trying to attempt an OTK. So this can send everything to the graveyard and you might not have a follow-up after getting nibbed. Depending on exactly when the nib takes place, I think that's decent. So if I'm going first and I have nib, I'm still chilling. Going second and I have nib, you can make Apollosa in this deck, but I'm pretty sure that's not 5th summon, is it? But we'll check. So I believe the line was like, well, let's start with Dormouse. Normal summon Dormouse, Dormouse effect to banish White Rabbit, special summon White Rabbit, that's 2. And then we have to link off into either like Splash Mage or Haggard Lizardos, but because we're making Apollosa, This is a fairy, so we can't go into Splash Mage, so it has to be Haggard Lizardos. Haggard Lizardos banishes Dormouse. Then special summon back Dormouse. Link off. Or Link Decoder, putting us at 4 summons. Special summon back Link Decoder, and special summon Heart Scripter puts us at 6 summons here. So when you're at the point where you have Heart Scripter plus the Link Decoder, nibbing here is fine, I guess, right? What's the continuation after this? You have Heart Scripter adding a spell, I believe, right? No, not Heart Scripter, wrong card. Red Ransom. Red Ransom adds a spell. What can we do here now? Maliss in Underground, I guess. To add? Or, yeah, this essentially adds March Air. March Air banishes Red Ransom, special summon back. Red Ransom. Then you would banish Chessy Cat. Yeah, that's not great, actually, if we just nib at that point. But that's only if they do make Apollosa, right? But even if they make Apollosa at this point, it's only 2 activations. And you can technically Nibiru again on turn 2 and turn 3. So I think the correct play is not to nib, actually, when we're staring down Red Ransom, Link Decoder. It's the nib after they've established their full endboard, because there's nothing they can do about this Nibiru. And the next turn, I'm pretty sure, they actually will special summon on your main phase as well. So Nibiru actually will play around that if you hold on to this. And if they use Apollosa Negate, they have no other way to deal with the Nibiru now. It's just, I don't know if they have follow-up after this or not. So I'm not really sure. But assuming they were to stop Nibiru on turn 2, you can do it again turn 3. And that prevents lethal. So maybe there's some hope with the Nib. I'm not really sure. But it's probably not as bad as you might think, I guess. I'd have to look through my entire hand trap lineup, I guess. So Imperm, I guess, would be fine. So like on normal summon Dormouse, if there's no trap or any extender, if you were to just Imperm this, I think that's okay. Because they might have no follow-up afterwards. But you could just save your Imperm for the next turn as well. I'm not 100% sure what interruptions this deck is supposed to bring out either. So, What hand traps to use against this indeed? Lancea would be like instantly GG, I guess, because the deck doesn't function if they can't banish their cards. Same with Chaos Hunter, I guess. Kind of in general, right? But the issue with playing those cards is if you're not playing Maliss, then you've just wasted some of your main deck slots for completely like useless cards. Yeah, that is a bit problematic, I guess. Drill's no good because they search like once unless they resolve a lore. So that's not necessarily great, right? The amount of starters you can run in this deck is actually very high too. So this is a starter, but you also still have access to Signet mining, I think, right? If you wanted to, you could play mining. And this is just in the structure deck. Well, one of them, right? I think that was the Solomon Gray one, but yeah. That just searches Cybers generically. So yeah, that could just result in combo as well if you actually needed more starters. That's crazy. So if you limited them, it doesn't hurt that terribly bad. Like any of the names at this point, just think about that. But also, worth mentioning is that, well, all of these cards are ultras. So, if they hit, everyone would get an ultra refund, right? So, does that mean they don't intend to hit Maliss? Considering how Maliss is this heavily, like, just UR heavy? If you actually looked at the Snake Eye cards, right? they made Snake Eye, um, Snake Eye Ash here a SR, and when they limited it didn't really feel that impactful in terms of like your ability to build new decks. Mm. Yeah, just going first or going second against this isn't going to feel great. With Maliss in Underground, is there a play for this? Is there a reason to maybe play this guy? What was the effect of this again? You can target one card in a field zone special zone this card to your opponent's field, and if you do destroy this card is sent from your opponent's field to your graveyard. You can destroy all monsters on the field. You know what? This actually isn't that bad. If we pop the Maliss in Underground, they don't get to banish. And then if they actually link off Vidos, this will destroy their field, right? Is there a way for you to remove Vidos yourself? Not particularly, right? Yeah. But actually, what if we hide the Nibiru really well, now that I think about it? If our opponent here actually adds Malice in the Mirror instead of Malice in Underground, if they don't have Underground, doesn't Nibiru just completely wipe their board and they have just no plays? Maybe, right? They end on like literally nothing in that case. That becomes kind of a big mind game, doesn't it? If I were to activate on resolution of Red Ransom, I guess, after it's added a Malice spell. That is a bit of a gamble, honestly. Kind of like that. These are also all Cyberses as well. So this is a pretty easy answer, right? Going Super Poly, so you can go Super Poly, or you could go for at Ignister, Earth Golem at Ignister, I guess. Yeah, because it is like a link deck, more or less, right? That's an option. So if you were to end on like Terahertz Apollosa or Firewall Dragon Apollosa or something like that, Super Poly outs that immediately, and then you're just left with whatever's in your back row and some hand traps that honestly don't feel that threatening necessarily, depending on exactly what I'm playing. I think going with a Super Poly package might be the right play here. It is not really respondable. Kaijus, Lava Golem, those are probably okay as well. If I want to really do some damage, though. There is an issue, though, with like evenly in Small World, being that everyone's playing Lancea, and this is going to be quote-unquote your opponent's turn, so this prevents the activation of evenly matched if you get Lancea'd. Small World as well, so we can't like Small World for a Kaiju necessarily if they like draw phase Lancea us, and then like activate Maxi or something. That also stops like Called By. Pretty complicated, I guess. But my main takeaway right now is that Super Poly is probably pretty good, I suppose. Well, yeah. Still further analysis required, I guess. But yeah, things take time. And yeah. Whatever I'm playing doesn't really matter that much against Maliss. It's just an issue of what I should be running in order to like deal with the going first that this deck is doing. I mean, what this deck is doing right now, it doesn't feel like terribly unfair, I guess. Yeah, we've definitely had to deal with worse before. Much worse. Alright, let's see. Any other takeaways? Well, I mean, if we're going first, we could easily cook this deck. Like, you know, special summon Protos. Easy. If we make Hieratic Seals, this is actually GG as well. But I can't spell. Hieratic. Okay. So the thing we can do with Seals is we can just summon Quakey Meru Drago. And this line, I think, is a little bit better than some others. Because if we do like normal summon Dormouse, then we do Hieratic Seal effect to attribute itself. We can bounce back the Dormouse to their hand. And then after this, we can Chainlink 2, or not Chainlink 2, New Chain, Hieratic Seal effect to summon Quakey Meru Drago. And this prevents either player from special summoning light or dark monsters. And because of this, this will make it so our opponent cannot special summon anymore, and since they've already done their normal summon, they just cannot summon, period. Look in their hand right now. What actions can they take against Quakey Meru Drago? None. And the duality of why this is good is because this will also beat any fiendsmith decks, because they will need to special summon their light fiends, which they will no longer be able to do under the effect of the Quakey Meru Drago, and Hyrax Seals can bounce the normal summon, right? And this is kind of just anything where this is just something you can put into any dragon kind of deck, I suppose, right? If we were to generically throw this into a deck, I'm not 100% sure what we could generically throw this into, but yeah. If I were playing Blue Eyes, I would seriously consider playing this just to also win in Mirror as well, potentially. And it's worth mentioning, of course, that there isn't a single normal summon in Blue Eyes that can actually beat Quakey Meru Drago. Well, yeah, there are none. And no special summons you can really do. You could say like normal summon Etherburl could do it, but Etherburl can get bounced to the hand via Hieratic Seals. So it becomes genuinely impossible, even if you already have the field spell to get your additional normal summon, which I find a little humorous, I suppose. So, yeah, I mean, I'll have to do a little bit more research into this, but yeah. More stuff required, I suppose. So, yeah. That's all I got for you guys today. And if you have any insights or anything I've missed about Maliss, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to keep them in mind, I guess. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.